Back here, First Things First, Eric Mangini joins us. Happy Thanksgiving, Coach. Thanks for being with us on the holiday.
Good to be here.
We appreciate it. We needed some good insight. We brought you in because you're our favorite guest.
I was a little disappointed in the Thanksgiving wife. I mean, we set the bar very high at Halloween. We don't
have turkeys going across the street. We're trying to keep it classy, Coach. We're keeping it classy.
Coach, we spent all the money on our local turkey.
That makes sense.
You guys need a break from family on this Thanksgiving. The NFL has you covered with the late game. It's a good one. It's a showdown in the NFC South. It is the Falcons who head to New Orleans to take on Drew Brees and the red-hot Saints. Saints trying to make it 10 in a row to keep pace with those Rams out west on top of the NFC. But Drew Brees says it is always a struggle against this Falcons team.
These are always hard-fought games. I mean, both games last year you wouldn't call high-scoring games, right? Obviously, the first one this year was, but you know, I just know they're typically close games, and they're hard-fought games, and you know, their games come down to the last possession. We're not looking too far ahead. I mean, we're so singularly focused right now, just because we don't feel like we've put our best out there yet. You know, I mean, you're always striving for that perfect game. I don't think you ever find it, but it's just that striving for it that allows you to take one, you know, put one foot in front of the other and continue to, you know, stack the bricks and build what you want to build.
Coach, Drew Brees and this Saints team locked in right now, playing about as good as they've played all season, as almost any other team is playing. What do they have to do against this Falcons team so they don't avoid the upset?
Well, a big part of this is what they've done leading up to it. So you know this game is happening. You know that you're playing on Thanksgiving. It's going to be a short week. So what you did after you played the first game, there's a thing that we would always do called an after-action report. Things we did well, things we did poorly, what we want to do the next time we play them, how well they assessed the last game at that moment when it was fresh in their mind, how much work they did, understanding they were playing on a short week is going to be a big part of who's most effective because you have such a limited amount of time to prep. Now, look, if I'm the Falcons, they don't produce very many sacks. Okay, they don't produce very many turnovers. They've got one fumble the whole season. To me, I'm not trying to match the Saints man for man. I'm not, and I don't even mean by coverage. I'm not trying to match all the things they do. If I was them, I would spin the Rolodex. When the Saints know what you're in, they're going to chew you up. And their X's are typically better than your O's, and that's going to be the case for Atlanta's defense. I would bring things that were off script. I would bring things that they aren't prepared for and just spin it.
That's what spin the Rolodex
Yeah,
means?
Just make it unpredictable for Drew Brees. Make it unpredictable for the running game. Put them in a situation where they're on their heels. That, to me, is the only chance that Atlanta has from a defensive perspective. Because if they try to go toe-to-toe, scheme for scheme, personnel for personnel, it's just not going to work out for them.
See, this was the game you did, right?
Yes.
And so this game at Mercedes-Benz Superdome, when they played in week 3, I know Atlanta left that game feeling, while they wouldn't say it, man, if we win the coin toss, we win the game. That game was a shootout, and it goes to overtime. When I say the coin toss, the overtime coin toss, obviously. And New Orleans gets the ball first, marches right down the field, scores a touchdown. Good night, you never touch the football. I think Atlanta can take a lot of things from what they did that game offensively and what they've been doing almost throughout most of the season offensively and say, we can do what we've been doing, and we can do it like en route to 37 points when we played them the first time. Defensively, this is what I call a David versus Goliath game, which is you are such an underdog schematically on one side and personnel-wise, you have to take bigger chances. This could be a game, I know you were a fan in your coaching career of the surprise onside kick. Things like that. Things that could, sometimes that makes it, you let go of the rope.
Yeah.
And
the problem is they got Mike Westall. You know, Atlanta, they ain't going to surprise him because he's one of the best special teams coaches. But I do understand what you're saying. Even if you remove that
specific thing, I just mean that add variance to the football game.
Well, when we played him when I was in Cleveland, and we were not Goliath, we were David at that point. Our whole approach was exactly what I was talking about. We were going to do the unpredictable, at times completely unsound, fake punts, onside kick, all those things, because we had nothing to lose, and we ended up picking off Drew Brees twice for touchdowns. We beat him in New Orleans because it's not it doesn't make sense, and you've got to give them some of that. Otherwise, you're on your heels the whole game.
Right. I do agree with both of you talking about as far as the unpredictable part. In certain parts of the game, you have to be able to do things that in that part of the game that you wouldn't do. As far as special teams and other situational football, you're going to have to do things to be able to try to gain some competitive advantage. I believe from an X's and O's standpoint, they can throw the football, the Falcons, against New Orleans secondary. And one thing where Dennis Allen has improved this secondary is they're not giving up as many big plays. In that first game that I witnessed, man, they gave up a number of big plays, and they couldn't find an answer for Calvin Ridley. I believe that Calvin Ridley will be a big part of that passing attack. But if I'm the Falcons, I got to be able to run the football. If I need to be able to shorten this game, I got to get some of those yards from the passing game over from a rushing attack, because I got to be able to keep them off the field. Now, you're talking about unconventional stuff? Let me tell you something that does work. I can't depend on the turnover, being able to win that. But I know time of possession. And when you have an explosive offense, when we are dealing with the Saints, the Rams, the Chiefs, you got to try to win that time of possession. That is the #1 path to victory, and being physical and running the football. Can the Falcons come up with enough of a running attack that they get that portion of the game in their favor? Can they have 33 minutes to 27? That's the way the Falcons can go down there and pull off the upset, Jenna.
And you brought up Westhoff too. Last game they blocked a punt. You know, you got to make sure that you don't get taken advantage of by something they surprise you with.
Still a tall order for this Falcons team, decimated by injuries over the course of the last couple weeks since the last time these two teams played. Coach, stick around. Coming up, will the Cowboys seize control of the NFC East with a win today? That is next on First Things First.